My family is blaming me for a fight after my half-brother destroyed pictures of my mom. Throwaway so I don't cause any more damage than I've already done. So a bit of backstory, I, 16M, recently moved in with my dad, 47M, after my mom died. Dad's never really been in my life and he and my mom were never married. He has a wife S, 48F, and two other kids A, 14F, and M, 18M. So when I ended up moving in with my dad it obviously caused a lot of issues with the rest of the family. Nobody wanted me there and basically gave me the cold shoulder. S, M, and they tend to talk with each other in French because they know that I can't understand them, and my dad has tried to force an English-only rule in the house with little luck. For the first month, M just ignored me completely, even though he and I were forced to share a room since the house didn't have any space. I tried to be nice but I just lost my mom and it hurts and it's been so much change so quickly. 2 days ago though, I found the postcards and pictures and letters from my mom ripped into a bunch of pieces and scattered all across my bed. I kept them in a box under my bed and M had been the only one in the house with me at the time so I know he did it. I started yelling at him and we ended up verbally fighting right as S and A got back home. I can't remember what M said anymore because I was so mad that I wasn't thinking straight, but I remember hitting him. We both exchanged a couple of punches and I accidentally elbowed A in the nose while she and S were trying to separate us so she was bleeding too. When my dad got home we were all still yelling and S was trying to throw me out of the house. I couldn't stop crying because I just had my only actual photos of my mom ruined and I don't know if we can fix them. My dad tried to settle everyone down but didn't end up punishing M because there's no actual proof that he did it. I got in trouble for throwing the first punch and S is still trying to convince my dad to send me somewhere else. Both A and M keep telling me that I ruined their family by coming here but I didn't really have a choice. I know I shouldn't have hit M but I was so mad and didn't think. I know I shouldn't have escalated anything but am I really the one at fault here? I don't know how I'm supposed to live with M anymore. Update. So I've posted about this in here before but things have gotten worse and I feel like I don't know how to navigate it. It's been about 6 months since I, 16M, had to move in with my dad, 47M, and his family after my mom died and I still feel like his wife and my half-siblings despise me just for being there. The issue of my mom's pictures getting destroyed turned what was already a shitty situation into something that is just killing me. I ended up sleeping on the couch for almost 2 months because I couldn't stand the sight of my half-brother M, 18M, after what he did to my stuff and started carrying a backpack around the house with anything personal that I had brought from my mom's apartment wherever I went so nothing else could be damaged. M ended up apologizing to me but it seemed more of a show for my dad than an actual apology to me. My dad's wife S, 48F, and my half-sister A, now 15F, still barely acknowledge me and still almost exclusively use French in the house, which I'm only now starting to pick up words and conversation for. I've always felt like a stranger in this house and, while I understand why they don't want me around, I don't know what I can do to try and make things work. The worst of it came 3 weeks ago when I lost my keys to the house and got stuck out in the rain after I came home. I tried calling my dad but he didn't pick up and I rang the doorbell as many times as I could because I saw S's car outside the house so I knew she was home. There isn't much close by us so I couldn't walk anywhere to wait. By the time my dad got home an hour and a half later, I was soaked and cold and, when we got inside, S just said that she was on a call and couldn't hear the doorbell ringing. I couldn't even talk to her and just went upstairs and cried in the bathroom before going to bed. My dad apologized later for not seeing my message sooner but that's not really the issue here. I feel sick living here and can barely eat or sleep half the time. My grades are tanking and I don't feel like I can talk to anyone. I miss my mom and everyone is pretending like she never existed and I have to basically do the same thing so nobody at home gets mad at me. The main issue is, a week ago, my dad's best friend and his husband, who I've met a couple times and stayed with the first couple nights after I reconnected with my dad while he was trying to figure out how to bring me home, heard about me being locked out of the house and asked if I wanted to come stay with them for a while. I want to say yes so bad because anywhere has to be better than where I'm staying now. But I know it's going to cause issues with my dad because he ruined his entire relationship with his family to be able to bring me home so I wouldn't have to go into foster care, and it's going to seem incredibly ungrateful. I know my dad's trying, he really is, but I don't know what I'm going to do if I have to keep living in his house until I turn 18. How do I broach the subject with him? Is trying to move out even worth it at this point or should I just toughen up and deal with it for the next year and a half? Update 2. It's been about a week since I talked to my dad and I've had a couple people message about an update, so I figured I'd give one. For those who didn't see my original post, I, 16M, had to move in with my dad, 47M, and his family after my mom died and things have been extremely strained, the worst incidences being my half-brother ripping pics of my mom up and my dad's wife leaving me locked out of the house, so I was given the offer to move out by my dad's friend and his husband, both 30s M. I followed a couple people's suggestion and texted my dad's friend that I wanted to leave, and they ended up suggesting we all go out to lunch. I think they could both tell how nervous I was around my dad, and my dad's friend Jay ended up being the one to bring up the idea of me moving out. My dad seemed completely blindsided by it and asked why I wanted to move out. Jay and his husband reminded him about everything that's been going on at home, and I just kind of sat there. My dad seemed really upset, and it made me feel terrible because I already felt guilty about leaving, but then he just asked if I really wanted to go. I said yes, and he just immediately agreed. It kind of hit me that I wanted him to try and fight for me, to say sorry for everything that he's been letting happen, and for my dad to try and keep me at home, but he just let me go like it was nothing. It's been hard after my mom died, and my dad's the only family I've got left, so it really didn't make me feel any better about leaving, even though I don't have to deal with my dad's family anymore. B took me back to their apartment while Jay went with my dad to get my stuff from the house, and they had set up their extra room for me already. He apologized that they hadn't been able to do this sooner and that they hoped I would like living with them. Jay came back with all of my things, and they kind of gave me time to decompress. I ended up sleeping for almost 16 hours because I was so exhausted. Over the last week, they've been really nice about making me feel at home and have talked to me about getting me into therapy to deal with losing my mom and everything that happened at my dad's house. They're also trying to figure out how to move me into a different school so I don't have to deal with my half-sister and everyone that knew my half-brother. It's the first time in months that I feel like I can actually breathe, and I don't feel like I'm constantly on guard. My dad hasn't texted me much or reached out in the last week, so I don't know what's going to happen with him, but, for now, I'm safe, I guess. So that's what's happened so far. Thanks for everyone that gave me advice and wished me well. It's been really hard lately, and it made me feel less alone. Update 3. Hey everyone, I know it's been a while since I made my update post about moving out of my dad's house, and a lot of people have been asking for another update, so I figured I would give one last update. Things have been relatively quiet since I moved out. I transferred schools and started therapy a few months ago. Jay and B have been really kind about giving me space to grieve my mom, and I don't feel like I have to hide all of her stuff anymore. I managed to get a couple of the pictures digitally repaired thanks to someone reaching out to me on here, and, while it's not the same, at least it's something. Family-wise, it's still hard. After my post blew up, it ended up reaching my half-sister. She said she had read all the comments and started feeling bad about everything that her mom and brother did. She ended up apologizing for what she had done and understood if I didn't want to forgive her. We texted for a while about all of it, and we've been in an okay place since that talk. I still haven't heard anything from M&S, but I didn't really expect to either. My dad has come over to J and B's apartment to see me a few times, and we go to lunch about once a month, but other than that, I haven't really seen him much. Jay did tell me that about 3 weeks ago, my dad moved out of the house and got his own apartment. From what it sounds like, he and S aren't separating yet, but he's giving her space. I tried texting him about it but never got a response. Things are okay now, even though it's getting close to a year since my mom died, which will probably be hard when it happens. Thanks for everyone that messaged me or commented. I'm sorry I didn't respond to everyone, but the response was a little overwhelming.